Well, good morning my friends and happy Thursday. You join me in my sewing room as always, and I'm about to start a new project. It's only something really simple, quite basic. It's something that I've been wanting to make for the last couple of weeks, and I thought today we're going to do it. We're going to get into it and make it, and hopefully it works out. I'm going to try and make an apron today. I mean, I've made so many aprons before in the past, but this one just has a couple of different sort of elements that I've never really put into an apron before, and I've also never actually followed it from a pattern. I bought a pattern the other day from work, i.e. Spotlight. It's this KwikSew pattern. It's 3247, and I was just after just a really basic apron, nothing fancy with frills or anything like that, just really basic. So this is the best one that I found. The reason why I wanted to make an apron is because I bought this wonderful, gorgeous cotton duck fabric from work. It's got Minnie Mouse all over it and I just love it. And as soon as I saw it, I'm like, that would make the perfect apron. So that's what we're going to try and do today. I did draw like a really sort of like basic type drawing, I thought, maybe for the apron, if it wants to focus right here. So this is my really like bad drawing. So essentially I just want to do like 2 eyelets up the top and 2 eyelets here, and then have like a crisscross for the straps. This is the type of apron that I wear at work, and they're super comfy, and then it's just got a nice big basic pocket at the front for anything that you need. So that's the kind of vibe we're going for. This pattern is slightly different in that design, so as I go I'm gonna like tailor it to the design that I want. Essentially I really just wanted a pattern piece of an apron that was just a basic pattern, and that's what this gives me. So I've just been reading over the instructions, and I'm going to follow like maybe 3/4 of these instructions and then sort of change it up at the sort of parts that I want to be different for my apron. I'm going to somewhat follow the pattern layout, and I might maybe do a facing. It's got like this facing up the top. I might try and do, I think, and then hem it the way that they say, and then make the ties the way that they say, but I'm just going to be making one continuous tie. Oh no, 2 continuous ties. Yeah, that's right, because I need 1 on either side. So yeah, hopefully it will turn out and look good and be something that I can sort of see in my mind's eye. To get started, I'm just going to give my fabric a bit of a press. I will cut out the pattern pieces from this, and we'll get into it. Fabric has been pressed, the pattern pieces have been cut out, and I've just laid them on top of the fabric, and I'm so annoyed about all of this wastage here, but I can definitely find something to do with that fabric. We have just our basic apron pattern here. This part here is the facing that will go on the back of the apron once it's finished. We've got our pockets. We're going to cut out 2 of them, and then this bit here is one of the straps. I have to do this step twice. Unless, I was just thinking maybe I could fold it up and cut 2 of them out at the same time. That's an idea. So now I'm just going to grab some pins and pin it all into place, cut it out, and then we'll get sewing. All of my pattern pieces are now cut out and we're ready to go. But before I get into it, I just want to explain how I did the strap part. I didn't end up doing it like the pattern says to do it. I actually put the strip pattern piece on that edge piece. That would have been excess fabric or waste fabric. So instead, this is what I did. I ended up cutting 4 strips just at the length of the actual pattern piece, but I did extend it just a little bit more. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just join them together like I would just a binding and create just 2 extra long straps. Because for the design of apron that I'm doing, I only just need 2 long straps to tie the apron onto myself. So I think it'll work. If the straps aren't long enough, I can always add more onto the ends of these pieces. So yeah, we'll see, hopefully. The next step is to, I think we need to do the pockets first. I did end up cutting 2 separate pieces. I wanted to just do 1 long rectangle, so I thought maybe I could just sew them together. The reason why I did cut them out separately is because I didn't want to waste any more fabric, because otherwise I would have had to put this on the fold line, and yeah, it just would have wasted fabric. So I'm going to fiddle around with that a little bit and see what I can do, whether I should do 2 separate pockets or join them together and just have 1 long rectangle at the front. Yeah, we'll see. So I know I just said that I was going to start with the pockets, but I've actually ended up starting with the straps first. I just want to make sure that they are going to be long enough, and I'm pretty sure they will, because what will happen is it will come from the shoulder here, apron's about here, and then it will crisscross at the back, go into the side of the apron there, and then we'll have this little tail here to then tie the apron up. So I think those lengths should be good. So I might just continue on getting these done. And as I mentioned, I've just sewn them together like I would like when I'm doing a binding. So now I'm just going to chop off this little excess triangle seam allowance. And then I think what I'll do is I'll press them in half. Oh, I'm not sure. Got to figure out how I'm going to make the ties, because the little eyelets that I'm putting in the apron are a particular size. They're this big, so I want the ties to be sort of like small or skinny enough to be able to fit through it. So I think if I do it the way that I'm thinking, I will get a nice sturdy strap, and it will also be sort of skinny enough to go through the eyelet. Let's pop it through that way. Yeah, I think that works. So what I'm going to do is I'll possibly end up ironing it in half, so pressing it in half so that I have a fold line here, and then open it back up and then fold the raw edges into that center line like so, and then fold that in half and then stitch it together so that I've got a nice skinny little strap. I think that should be alright. I don't think that should be too skinny to sort of like have. Maybe. Yeah, I think that should be alright. Okay, straps are done. I did make them just a slightly wider than what I was initially going to do, but they're still going to fit through the eyelets, so I'm very happy with them. I just finished them with a nice lovely top stitch, so they're nice and neat and lovely. So they can go now to the side, and I've decided for the pockets just to make them like they are in the pattern, so I'll end up having like 2 pockets on either side, so I think that'll work. I can't really be bothered doing anything else. I've just folded over the top seam. I'm just going to stitch that into place for both of them, and then I think we press these 2 edges down and then the bottom one, and then sew them onto the front of the apron. I know it's a bit hard to see, but I've just popped the first pocket onto the front of the apron, and I thought I'd just show you how I did it. Here on the pattern, it actually tells you the placement of where to put the pocket. So the way that I did it, I'm going to have to turn the pattern other way. Just laid it on top, make it all nice and centered and even. Then popped the pocket underneath the pattern, keeping it all in place And then I just sort of lined it up with the lines on the paper pattern. So you can see that the pocket is in the same place as this top line. So now that it's in place, we're just going to pin it there. Pop a quick pin up the top so that it stays in place. And then just like with this pocket, you can see I've got pins all around the edges. I'm just going to do the same thing, pin it all around the edge, and then I'm going to sew them on. And I always just make sure that they're sort of even here. Yeah, so they're at the same level there and there as well. So nice. It's really hard to see them. They're sort of camouflaged in there, but we've got a pocket here and a pocket there. I know it's really hard to see, but the pockets are done, and I just actually ended up doing a double stitch along the edges just to sort of reinforce them a bit. They feel nice and sturdy now. And now that they're done, moving up to the top facing. So this is a facing part that will go along the top and then along the armholes, just to, I think, give it a little bit of stability to encase all of the raw edges. On the pattern it says to leave 2 little holes up the top. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to be putting the eyelets in. So I'm just going to sew along the top here, fold it over, and then I think I have to sew something as well. What is it telling me to do? I'm just going to see what it's telling me to do. Sew along the top, and then I have to clip curves and then sew hems and other things. So I'm just going to do that top hem first, and then we'll figure out what we have to do next. I think I've figured out a way I'm going to do the facing part for the apron. It is slightly different to what it says in the pattern, but again, as I said at the start, I'm sort of going to be adjusting this to the kind of design that I want. So what I've done is I've sewn this top facing to the top of the apron so that when we fold it over, we'll have a nice lovely hem at the top of the apron. So now that I've done that, it's time to sew these sides together, so the armhole facing and the apron together. So I'll do a seam down here and then the same thing on the other side, and then I think from there we flip it around the right way, and then what I'm going to do is fold these edges in so that I don't have a raw edge, and then sew it all into place. That last step is slightly different in the pattern, and that's the one that I'm sort of just going out on a limb and giving it a go. So hopefully it works. I don't know, we're just going to give it a go and see what happens. So the armhole parts are done. This is the top of the apron and the armholes, and I thought before I turn it out I'll show you what I did. They tell you to clip these corners so that obviously they sit nicely once they're inverted, and I've also just done little snippies in between as well, so there's maximum chance for movement and for that seam to sit flat. So now we just bring it around to the front, and I'm going to press it and move on to the next step. Oh my gosh, it is so satisfying to see how perfect that seam came out. It is so nice. This is one of the reasons why I love sewing, is just being able to create such a beautiful, lovely pressed seam. It's just lovely. It's perfect. I'm so happy with that. So now, according to the instructions, it is telling me to do the bottom hem and then the side hems, and then we finish it off with the edges of the facing, that bottom part that I was telling you that I'm going to fold up and sew into place. So we'll do the bottom hem, the side hems, and then that other hem, and then we'll be ready to put the eyelets in and then pop the little straps in, and then it'll be done. My goodness, hopefully that shouldn't take too long, and we should get this finished before lunchtime. It's 1:45, and yeah, we'll definitely get it done in the next half hour, I think. Hopefully. Now that I've said that, something will go wrong, and yeah. Anyway, let's hope that doesn't happen. Update time. The facing is all sewn into place. I folded it over just oh so delicately, and then did a really nice seam around that edge, so that's all nice and flat and lovely. The hems on the side and the bottom of the apron are done as well. That is the front of our apron done. Now it's time to do eyelets. So what we're going to do is we're going to put one eyelet there, another eyelet there at the top, and then another eyelet here on the side, and then another one here on that side, so we can pop our ties through the eyelets. Now if you saw my video when I was doing my hoodie, I put in little eyelets, so I'm pretty sure I know what I'm doing when it comes to doing the eyelets. I think I have a tool to make, oh yeah. I've got the tool to do these ones, so that should be fine. So just like with the eyelets that I used for my hoodie jumper, these ones have a front and then another little ring for the back. So one is a little bit higher than the other. And this is the one that with your tool, put it on that way, and then when you hammer it in, this little part here sort of curls over and it holds this part in place. So then you have a nice lovely eyelet hole in whatever it is you're putting it into. From what I can remember when I last used these, I actually think I have to cut a hole in it because I don't have the punch part. This kit didn't come with it, and I think it should have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark on the fabric where I want the eyelet to be, and then do a little hole, cut it out, and then punch it in. I think that works best. Okay, so I've just placed the little eyelets into their little holes. What I had to do is I just popped that there, traced the inside with a pencil, and then just cut out little holes. I did that for that side as well. And just to make sure that they actually go through, I just popped them in, and they should go through that hole. This little ring part goes on the back to hide all of that. And then we're going to bang it in from the back. Alright, so eyelet goes on the front of the apron, the backing ring on the back. Then I have this donut looking thing, and this is just a little thing to hold it into place on the bottom, like so. Then we get our tool, pop it on top, and we're going to just bang it in. So this is going to take quite a lot of like strength and banging, so I'm going to stop recording, otherwise you're just going to bounce all over the place, and then I'll show you the results after. So that took a lot longer than I expected to put all of those eyelets in. I actually did have a break in between them because I needed to have some lunch. I was so hungry. I've just popped in the last two eyelets, and it looks good. I'm very happy it's sort of turning out the way that I wanted. So happy days indeed. Now it's time to put the little straps in, and it should be finished. Here are the eyelets done at the front of the apron, and that's what they look like on the back. Very happy with them. And then here's the one on the side and another one on the side. So the way I'm going to do these straps at the top is put this strap through the hole at the front like so, fold this back part over so it's all like tucked in, so on and so forth, and then I'm just going to sew just a little line here so that they're attached, and then I'll do the same thing with this side. So there we go, I've just pinned them into place. I've just tucked the raw edge in underneath that part there so that it will be hidden, and I did the same on that side as well. My straps are all sewn. I just did a little rectangle just to secure it into place. They still sort of move as well, you can't really tell There you go. You can tell on here. So the straps still move a little bit. So now, if I turn it over, if I crisscross that one to that side, this one to that side, put it in through that hole. I've also just realized I haven't finished off the edges of these yet. I'll do that in a second. Then put this strap into this side. We now have a cross at the back, and that's how we'll wear it. But before I put it on, I'm just going to finish the edges of the straps, which I've just realized I've forgotten to do. And then once I've done that, we'll try it on and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so ends are done. I just simply folded it over once, folded it over twice, and then just sewn them into place. Super simple. So now, let's pop it on and see how it works. Like I said, this is the type of apron I wear at work, so I know how to kind of get into it. Just cross it over the head. The thing about having crisscross at the back and doing an apron like this, you can adjust it how high you want to have it or how low you want it, and it doesn't pull on the back of your neck. Just tying it up here at the back. Ta-da! All done. Oh, it's super comfy. I'll show you what it looks like at the back. So you got that crisscrossy, but that feels really nice. You can't really see because you're so far away. There, how's that? I've got my pockets, they work well, and crisscrossy at the back. Ta-da! Nice. Oh my gosh, I love it. Yay, it's exactly what I wanted, what I was picturing. I'm really happy with the eyelets. Yeah, I love it. It's cool. Nice. I put you there. Oh, how far do I have to go back? There. Ta-da. Looks good. Looks good. So you all know how I love a little bit of baking, so a new Disney apron for baking. I already have another one, a Cath Kidston collaboration Disney one, but now I have this one too. Happy days. I love it. What a good day of sewing. Couldn't be any more happier.